Hello everyone, I'm Joe Ackourey, and welcome to the Fly of the Week. For this episode, episode 52, I'll be tying the Black Nosed Dace Streamer. The Black Nosed Dace Streamer imitates the bait fish, the Black Nosed Dace, which is commonly found throughout the Northeast in streams and rivers. I like to fish this fly downstream. I get a good belly in the line, and I wait for the belly to kind of swing and straighten out, and I start stripping in short strips. And trout usually like to hammer it right around that point of the drift. But highly recommend keeping the rod tip up to protect those tippets, because when the trout hits this fly, they smack it. And with the rod tip up, the rod will take the shock instead of the tippet. So, without further ado, let's get started. All right, guys, here we go. The Black Nosed Dace Streamer. Start by placing your hook in the vise, making sure that the shank of the hook is relatively parallel with the tabletop. And begin to cover the entire shank of the hook with thread. This may take a little while because it's a long shanked hook for this to represent the bait fish, the Black Nosed Dace bait fish. You want to stop at where the shank of the hook and the critical bend meet, right around there. Now, the first step to tying this fly is placing the tail on. And the tail is nothing more than a piece of red yarn. I like to make the length of the tail equal to the gap of the hook, including the eye. And I'm going to attach it like so. A couple of wraps of thread, and then you want to wrap the entire length of the shank of the hook with this yarn all the way up like so. And the reason why I'm doing that is because the next material that goes on this is the silver Mylar tinsel. And if I were to just attach the tail right at the back point there, right where the bend and the shank meet, and then cut it off, there would be like a huge divot there, and then that would be amplified when I put the silver tinsel on. So it would look terrible. So we don't want to, and that's the reason why we go all the way up with the yarn. It has a nice uniform body now. So let's take a peek underneath this tail, making sure that there's no thread underneath the tail, and that looks pretty good. So now we're ready for the silver body. Silver body is made out nothing more than silver Mylar tinsel in a medium width. I'm going to take that and attach that to the side of the shank of the hook. And again, I'm going to wrap that silver tinsel all the way up the shank of the hook. Like so. I don't want to crowd the eye. And yeah, that's good. Just missed a couple spots there. Here we go. And there you go. You got your tail, and now we're preparing to wrap the body. And we're going to wrap this silver Mylar tinsel tightly around the body, around the shank of the hook. I'm putting a lot of tension on that. You can hear the tinsel reacting. I'm really torquing down. You can see the hook bending and everything. I'm slightly over wrapping each wrap, but I'm pulling tightly because I want a nice smooth body. It gets a little more difficult as I approach the eye of the hook because I'm getting away from the contact point in the vise there, and it just, doesn't have the strength. So once I get to that magic point there, about 1/8 of an inch from the eye, I secure it with 8 or 10 wraps and clip off the excess. So there you go. We have our tail and our nicely made Mylar tinsel body. Very nice. All right. So this is where it gets interesting, guys. I'm going to put the wing on, and the wing is a 3-step process. We're going to utilize the whole deer tail here. So we have the white, as you can see. That's going to be the first layer, followed by the lateral line, which is almost jet black, which could be also found on the same deer tail, just in the top here, followed by a tan color, which is also found in the deer tail. So let's get started. We're going to start with the white, and we're going to take a little section of this bucktail. I'm trying to get I like the nice kinky fibers on this. They kind of hold together better. Okay, there's my little bunch. I'm going to take that and even it out as much as I can. And then try to comb out any short ends here, which there aren't many. That looks pretty good. So, I just grab the top bunch here and pull it away from the main bunch and just eyeball it and line it up. You can use a hair stacker. I'm just hand stacking this. There you go. So the amount that I took was probably equivalent to 1/3 of a gap of a hook, if you want a measurement to go by. And then I'm going to measure. I like to go a tail gap, or a gap of the hook and including the eye, past the tail. So right about there. So you really have to hold this down tightly and wrap. Tight wraps. 10 good wraps. Make sure that it stays on top of the shank of the hook. And there's the white. So also look at the angle of this eye. I want to clip it off at that angle. That looks nice. Now for the black. This is the second area, the second layer. It's white for your first layer. Second layer is black, followed by the tan. So I'm searching here for a good bunch on the bucktail here. There we go. I hope it's long enough. And you want the black to be the dominant color, because that lateral line really sticks out in the Black Nosed Dace. We're going to lay that right on top. We just made it with the length. Again, we're going to wrap 8 to 10 wraps. And kind of blend them together. Looks good. Again, clip that off on the same angle as the eye. Looking really good. Now for the final layer, and that's going to be the tan part. Again, we use one bucktail. I'm not saying you're going to be able to find a bucktail that does what I'm doing here, but if you select a good one, you'll be able to get the white, the black tip, or the lateral line for the Dace streamer, and the tan, which will be the top. So I'm going to select a bunch of tan from the bucktail. Even out the ends. As close as possible. Again, I'm hand stacking this. You could put it in a stacker. Hair stacker. There we go. And again, you're going to lay that right on top of the previous bunch. And secure that. It's vitally important that you have all your layers lined up in a straight line. You want that thread line. When I'm done with this, the thread line will be perfectly straight. And I'll show you once we get close to that point. Again, we have our top layer here. Follow the eye of the hook, the angle of the eye, and clip into it. So now we have to cover up all this excess. We could start by just wrapping thread. It's a gradual process, guys. Just take your time and build it up. It'll look nice when you're done. Don't be afraid to torque on it a little bit. And just gradually build it up. It's a big fly, size 6. And that'll about do it right there. Tie your finishing knot. This fly is done. Let's take a peek at it. The main takeaway here is with this lateral line, you want that bleeding through both sides of the fly. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me just put some head cement on here. I kind of like to just go around the head with that and just draw it back over the fly. Looks good. I got a couple wild ones here that I'm going to get rid of. There you have it. You can see how the black bleeds through both sides of the fly. Put some more head cement on it to shine up that head a little bit. There you have it, guys. The Black Nosed Dace Streamer. Great pattern. I like to fish it downstream and get a big belly in the line and then start retrieving it back into me. I've had some great success in the fast water with this fly using that technique I just described. But yeah, definitely a great pattern. Great fly to add to your arsenal. And I highly recommend this pattern. Really good fly. Thank you for joining me on this episode today and of the Fly of the Week. And I'll see you in the next episode. Tight lines, guys.